Pele's life story. Take some time to read. Who is the best footballer of all time? Maradona did not get it. There is considerable controversy. But about who is the king of football? There is no controversy. Brazil's Pele of Black Monarch fame. It is called the king of football. Many may think again. What is Maradona if the emperor? Maradona is called the Prince of Football. Born in a common slum. October 23, 1940 in Três Coraques, Brazil. Pele was born in a slum in the city. Who put the name? The person we know today as Pele was named by his parents after birth. Similar to the world-famous scientist Thomas Alva Edison. Keeping Pele's full name is Edson Arantes do Nascimento. They called Edison in Portuguese pronunciation as Edson. Edson Arantes. How did Pele get the name do Nascimento? You can't say that yourself. Busty's friends knew Pele. In the name of Dico. He was a tea shop employee in his childhood. As the first child of a poor black family, Atenton Lack's family. In childhood, Pelek had tea to make ends meet. Had to work in the shop. Besides sweeping the railway station. He also worked as a shoe cleaner for a few days. Pele dreamed of becoming a footballer since childhood. One day, that dream came true. The boy won the world by playing football. But there is more history behind it. Let's be like that. Let's find out some information. There was no money to buy a real football. Born to a poor family in Brazil, the country of football. The story of the black boy's life is strangely thrilling. In football, there was natural talent, like 10 ordinary boys from Brazil. Street football was also his leisure companion. But real. A newspaper inside the sock because there was no money to buy a football. He used to practice on made-to-measure football. Born to a poor family in Brazil, the country of football. The story of the black boy's life is strangely thrilling. In football, there was natural talent, like 10 ordinary boys from Brazil. Street football was also his leisure companion. But real. A newspaper inside the sock because there was no money to buy a football. He used to practice on made-to-measure football, showing natural talent here too. Within a year, he made his way into Santos' first team. Get it, top scorer in first season. Pele's age when he joined Santos' first team. 16 years. The service belongs to Santos in the Brazilian Professional Football League. He won the league's top scorer award. The fight started. With that boy from the slums, this is the big one in Europe. The clubs began to shake, among them is the present time. There were also teams like Giants, Real Madrid, Juventus. Everyone. A rush to get Pele into their team at all costs. Started, but the service was played in Europe. Did not rise. I will explain the reason below. World record in the first match. Pele's international football career began with Brazil. Against arch-rival Argentina. The time was 7 of 1957. July. In that match, Brazil won 2-1 against Argentina. Even though he lost by a margin, he managed to set the world record in the first match. If you get the wrong one. Scored at the age of 16 years and 9 months. Recorded the youngest goalscorer in the international arena. World Cup football. Pele against the Soviet Union in the 1958 World Cup. Abhishek takes place. The match was the third match of the 1958 World Cup. First. Even if Pele does not score in the round game, it is final. When it comes to the moment, it burns right. Quarter-finals. Pele scored Brazil against Wales in that match. A ticket to the semi-finals was secured and Brazil tasted the next. First World Cup win. This goal was also in the history of the World Cup. Goal by the youngest player. Became the hero of Brazil's first World Cup victory with a pair of goals. Go to 17-year-old Pele. Thus, 1-1 in the World Cup of 1958, 1962, 1966, and 1970. If you play of these 3 times, 1958, 1962, and 1970. He won the glory of winning the World Cup. But Pele will win the World Cup 3 times. The year 1997 is about whether he won the World Cup twice. There was some controversy. In the second match of the 1962 World Cup, it turned around. Get hurt. This injury knocked him out of the World Cup squad. Brazil also won the World Cup that year. But if you get that. The debate was going on whether he was a member of the party or not. Finally in 1997. In 1962, the World Football Organization FIFA Special Arrangement announced the members of the World Cup winning team. Brazil did not win the 1966 World Cup. In the first game in the World Cup, Pele played against Bulgaria. Was seriously injured. Brazil's all-time in the 1970 World Cup. Pele won his 3rd World Cup as a member of the best team. The title jewels rhyme on his way to the trophy. All the success of Brazil is accompanied by Pele in the world. No footballer has the feat of winning 3 World Cups. There are more than 1,000 goals. Pele scored 1283 goals in 1363 career matches. 1969. Brazilian against Vasco da Gama club in November. The day he scored his 1,000th goal in a league match, that day. The whole of Brazil was celebrating. Any unit. This was the world record for goals scored by a player. An entire career in one club. Pele's beginnings in club football and his end at Santos. Year 1956. From 1974 to 1974, the Brazilian won in 18 long years 27 trophies from leagues, cups and international club tournaments, not being able to play in the European League. The reason is Pele's service in the Brazilian League. The performance was so impressive that the Brazilian government itself. The eyes did not avert. Pele's performance is invaluable to them. Considered as so, they made Pele a Brazilian. It was declared as a national treasure. This is why Pele has never played in the European League.